Well, hi everybody, and welcome to my office, in fact, not in my shop. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do another radio comparison. And I want to compare this Sony 6800W radio. And I'm going to compare it to a very similar radio, and that's the Grundig Satellit 800. If you've watched some of my other comparison videos, you know I've compared this radio to the two old boat anchors in the background here, which we won't be operating right now. I think it's just a little easier to compare this radio to this radio. They're really similar in many respects, and also different. And just to talk about that for a moment, the Grundig radio, I believe, is made on the basis of make it as simple and easy to operate, while still having some wonderful features. And this radio goes farther into having advanced tuning features, including a pre-selector and a different way of doing bands, and it very much relies on manually turning this control, as opposed to this radio you can just punch in numbers on the keypad. If you notice, there's no keypad on this radio. So the reputation of this radio is very, very good. Same thing for this one. They're both high quality radios, no doubt about it. Though what I'm really interested in finding out is this radio working properly? That's why I have it. I have it to repair, which I've done. And now I want to know for sure that the sensitivity is up to par. The only way I'm really able to do this properly is to actually compare it to another radio on a similar antenna. So on that point, both these radios are connected to the same external antenna, just paralleled in. But we will be listening to the actual speakers that are mounted on the radios themselves. I won't be running it through a stereo or something like that. So let's have a listen. Let's see. Let me just neutralize the tone controls here. Okay, now the time of day here, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, which is not the best time to be looking for shortwave signals and the like, but that's what we got. Both radios facing the same thing. So we're starting out tuned to 15,000 hertz in the hopes of hearing WWV. Literally, I did not even hear this radio before I started this video today, so I'm as cold as all of you to what to expect here. Nothing on 15. Okay, on the satellite, I just heard the top of the minute tone very faintly. And I'm hearing nothing at all on this one. That's an interesting comparison right there. Okay, I could hear a couple of those clock ticks in this radio. Very, very, very hard to hear. I doubt it came across on the video, but it might have. And I hear absolutely nothing out of this radio in terms of WWV. So let's go up band, pick something up to listen to here. $15,140. Okay, we'll go up band with this radio now. There we go. Now, something you may have noticed already, it was pretty fast to tune this radio up to 140. It's pretty slow. This radio is not great for knob tuning. This is really meant for punching in the numbers. This tuning part over a long distance is quite a hassle on this particular radio. Okay, so let's listen to these two. We'll listen to this guy first for a little bit. And I should tell you too that the meter doesn't work on this radio. The meter movement itself is broken. Okay, so I've tuned the pre-selector to make sure that it's correct. And we're on the wide bandwidth. Now we'll switch. And I'm listening to the Sony now, and I'll switch again, back. And back again. And back. Listen to the satellite now. And back to the Sony. Okay, well, in my opinion, because of course I'm sitting here with my own ears listening to this, it's bound to sound a little better to me rather than on the video that you're watching. The radios are very, very comparable. This one's working just a little bit better. Although I'm having a very hard time understanding what's being said, it's also not in English, which doesn't help me either. I can hear the individual words here. This one, I can hear the sound of the words, but I can't quite pick out what they might be. And I also noticed that the AVC on this radio isn't, I don't know how to describe this, but when the signal goes very low, this radio practically cuts out. I don't know how to describe it exactly. It's a little bit annoying because it's quite a change in the audio sound. This one, when the signal goes way low, it just goes way low, and I don't hear the what might be trouble. I shouldn't say trouble, but it might be trouble in the detector or something like that you can hear on this guy. Okay, so let's have some fun with this one. Let's just tune through this band, bearing in mind this is not a good time to be listening to shortwave. So we'll go up from 15140.
قال الكلام ده بقى انهم يخلوا اولادهم يطلعوا من المدارس.
Our Holy Father goes to confession every week. Every holy priest I've ever known, or sister, or lay person went every week. Now I know you got to go once a year.
Admit, you're surrounded by people today who've done that. Some of the happiest people on this earth are those growing older.
That would be me. Okay, so here's one of the annoyances of this radio. Because it has actually mechanical tuning here, you reach the limit. And I'm at 16 megahertz. 16. Now if I want to carry on from 17, well, I kind of said that all wrong, didn't I? So never mind what I just said. Let's see if I can express this in a different way. I have to back all the way to the start to carry on. I did 15 to 16, now I'm going to do 16 to 17, but I had to go all the way back. And this has 1 megahertz band, so you'd have to do that every megahertz. It's similar to the old SP or R390. It also has 1 megahertz bands, and you have the same problem, except you're cranking this guy. So if you're really ranging in your radio listening, this would be annoying after a while. Constant clicking and going back. This guy is electronic. There is no end to the tuning. You can just tune your way all the way from the bottom to the top of the band, non-stop. But of course the beauty of this one is, let's see, let me pick something up here. I might not be able to now. Okay, that little tone, who knows what's causing that. 16167. It's pretty easy on this radio. 16167, and you just wait. And bingo, it's tuned it in. Turn this one up. Okay, it's the same tone, sounds quite different though. It's definitely there. So I guess the message here is, it depends upon what kind of radio experience you're looking for. Are you a hunter? You spend a lot of time turning the dial, hunting things down, just pulling them out of the ether? Or are you a book guy? You got a book open or a website open and you want to try that frequency? They're two very different approaches to listening to radio. So this would not be the best for hunting things down, because of the band situation. This one is really not good at all for hunting things down because it takes forever to turn this control. That's probably the biggest weakness in this radio. And by the way, these are both wonderful radios. In fact, all the ones you see here are all fantastic radios, so don't get me wrong. And as I'm comparing them, I'm not really comparing model to model. I'm comparing this particular radio. It's old, it has a history, it may be out of alignment, to this radio, which is in the same boat. So I'm really not trying to tell you that Sonys are better than Grundigs. I'm not in any position to make that kind of claim, nor would I. This specific radio versus this specific radio on my antenna, this is what happened. So let's hunt around some more. Let's try jumping to the around 9.5. Okay, so we'll go to 9.5. See how long it takes us to get there. Okay, there's 9.5. We'll go to 9.5 on this radio. So I think that shows you right there, there's quite a difference of experience between these two radios. This one's all about turning the knob, and this one's about pushing buttons. So let's hear what's there. Nothing. Oh my gosh. Where'd the signal go here? I've got this turned way up. Oh. Pre-selector. We'll move the pre-selector. Now on this particular radio, because the meter isn't working, it's hampered. It would be an easy thing to put an alternate meter, but not in here. Fat chance on getting one that would fit in here. But you could easily make up a little box and have a little external meter sitting here, and so the meter function still works. The meter movement itself is damaged. So 9500, nothing there. Let's find something. Going up from 95. There's something there. Now I'll try the same thing on this radio, which is let's just find something up from here. This radio, and now to this one. And back. And back. It's another good comparison station. It's right on the fringe of receivability. In fact, you really can't sit and listen to it. It's too weak, but it's great for testing these radios. Now, what did we find out there? This radio, I was able to tune almost 500 kilohertz rapidly, just short of 500 kilohertz, and find this station. You saw how fast it took. This one took much, much longer. On the way, I stopped at a couple of suspect things with this radio that I skipped over with this one because it's tuning so fast. Turns out the suspect things were just some noise or something else, I don't know what. But I did arrive at the same station with both these radios. When it comes to spinning the knob, I'd much prefer this one, frankly. This guy is just not a knob spinning radio. Maybe over a short area of a small band, inside a particular broadcast band, perhaps. But for just running around the shortwave frequencies, not a good choice, I would say. My own personal opinion. The alternative, like the other side of that coin, as I mentioned before, is if you're working from a list, if you've got a website going, you've got a list of frequencies, this guy blows this radio away. Because of the speed at which you can enter frequencies and jump around. So again, it really depends what you're trying to do with these radios. Now, in terms of just general sensitivity, operation, and all that, I'm quite reassured that this radio is working fine. Obviously, its sensitivity is right in line with this one. They're both known for being sensitive radios, this one in particular. So, I think I'm convinced that this radio does not require an alignment. I'm not going to attempt it. They don't do alignments on radios unless they appear to require it, for fear of messing them up, frankly. And this is not an easy radio to get apart and to get into and to start twiddling things. This almost needs to be on a Sony bench, I would imagine, although I'm sure you could do it in a well-equipped home shop too. This one I've never made any attempt to align anything on this radio or do anything with it like that. So I think that's a pretty good comparison. Maybe I should have had one of the big guys going, but we'll have to do that in another video, I think. And oh, one last thing. If you've watched this video all the way to this point, you're going to hear me talk about a missing video. There's a video I shot that goes between the first video on this radio where I disassemble it and this video where I test it. There's a repair video. And that video is being contested for copyright right now. I got a copyright warning on it, and when I checked, I can't hear anything that would be a copyright infringement. The radio itself isn't even functioning at the point in the video where the copyright claim is being made. So I'm disputing it. It's the first time I've disputed a copyright claim. Not sure how all that's going to work, but it might take a month. So quite disappointed to find that out. So I'm not sure what to do. I have this video. I'd like to post it. It's interesting. It shows you what was wrong with this radio, and probably the same thing is wrong with all these radios that are a similar vintage and similar condition. And unfortunately, I can't post it right now. So I really apologize for that. And I'm going to keep my eye open and hope that I can post it soon. Another alternative would be to shoot another video. I don't want to do that. Repost the one I did. I'll probably try that because I don't want to wait a whole month for that video to be available. And I'm just learning about the copyright rules in YouTube and learning to understand them properly. And you know, the problem with doing radios is you tune in a station, out comes a song. It just takes a couple seconds, and the YouTube copyright police will find it. So it's getting a little tricky here to avoid this. I've had 4 or 5 videos now that have been picked off as copyright infringement videos just because I happen to tune past a piece of music. So anyway, not to rag on too much about that. I appreciate very much what YouTube is doing and enabling me to do all these videos and entertain all of you with this stuff. So now back to the bottom line on these 2 radios. You know, for the right amount of money, these are fantastic radios to pick up. I would certainly not be afraid to own and use one of these, for sure. I like them both. In fact, really, on my desk right now are probably 4 of the finest radios going. I know there's many more, but these are certainly 4 excellent radios. Sony, Grundig, Hammerland, and Collins. I should get them all going, maybe. Well, that's all for now, and thanks a lot for watching. And I'm already started on the next radio, by the way, so I'll be posting videos on another radio very shortly. A farm radio. See you later.